So the question that motorcyclists all over the world are asking is, what will the Kawasaki Ninja H2 look like? Will it look like this? Whoa, look at this thing. I think it looks insane. That's like straight out of Transformers. It looks like a Decepticon. But is that the real Ninja H2? We've seen all these fake photos, which always come from Europe, and some of them were pretty bad. They were like ZX10 mock-ups. Ricky Gatson even made fun of one, said it looked like an R6. This one, now we see the carbon fiber and the wings and stuff, but that could be taken straight from the videos and compiled into this image by an artist. Regardless, I'm going to show you what the real bike looks like, whether it looks like this or not, tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time when I do the unveiling of the Kawasaki Ninja H2 finally. We've been waiting too long for this. So I'm going to break down my final take on what I'm expecting on this Kawasaki Ninja H2 based on all the information that we've been provided from Kawasaki and my interview with Ricky Gatson, world champion, drag racing champion Ricky Gatson. You can take a look at that interview right here where he makes some comments about the H2. So I'm going to break this video down into basically 4 parts. We're going to talk about the looks of the Kawasaki Ninja H2. We're going to talk about the speed of the Kawasaki Ninja H2. We're going to talk about the availability of the Kawasaki Ninja H2. And then we're going to talk about the why. Why, Kawasaki? Why? Okay, so let's jump right into this. So first of all, let's talk about the looks. So the looks of the Kawasaki Ninja H2. First impression when I saw the silhouette photo is I thought that thing looked a little chubby. But I'm thinking it's going to be an extreme speed motorcycle. When you're talking about extreme speeds, you got big heavy bikes like the Kawasaki Ninja ZX14R and the Hayabusa. With a big bike, it's heavy, it's more stable, and you have a frame that's suitable for a big engine. We don't know what the size of this engine is going to be, but if it's going to be fast, potentially it's going to be a big bike as well. However, it also has a supercharger in it, so that's kind of a compromise. You don't have to be ZX14 big to get ZX14 speed. So you have something that may be closer to a ZX10 frame, but has the power or greater than a ZX14R. And that's insane, but that's potentially what we're going to be getting. Now, beyond that, we've seen the photos where they show these winglets. These winglets! I'm thinking right now, I'm going to address some concerns and some complaints I know that are coming tomorrow. People are going to complain, they're going to say, it looks hideous! Because I'm pretty sure that this bike, based on the feedback, based on Ricky Gatson saying things like, it's going to be the Bugatti Veyron of motorcycles. Whoa! What does that mean? The Bugatti Veyron is an extreme car. It's over 1,000 horsepower, $2 million. It can go 240 miles per hour plus. Now, to get to those extreme numbers, you're going to find yourself compromising on the aesthetics of the vehicle because, you know, especially a motorcycle, stability is going to be an issue at high speeds. You don't have a lot of surface area like a car to have all these huge wings and all this kind of stuff, and you just got 2 wheels on the ground, so going at really high speeds, tricky. You got things like the Dodge Tomahawk with a theoretical top speed of 350 miles per hour. You have things like the Y2K, 227 miles per hour, which theoretically can go this fast, but I'm telling you right now, I do not want to go in a Y2K at top speed. I do not want to go in a Tomahawk at top speed. I think that's going to be a very scary experience. But we're talking about Kawasaki. They build race bikes. And looking at the carbon fiber and looking at the winglets, I think this bike was actually designed to go at extreme speeds. So that brings us to the next topic, speed. So what's going to be the top speed of the new Kawasaki Ninja H2? I think this bike is going to go potentially north of 220 miles per hour. I think based on the performance of the current motorcycles, I think this is realistic. Why would they put those winglets on there, those carbon fiber winglets on there, unless they're dealing with some very extreme issues like downforce and high-speed stability, and also the bike being lightweight, supercharged instead of a big, heavy 1,500cc bike. You have something that may be a 1,000cc or 750. I don't know about the 750. I did an interview with Great Lakes Racecraft. They build race bikes, supercharged, turbocharged, and we talked about that. You can take a look right here at the interview, and we discussed that a 750 supercharged bike, we don't know about that. So we're thinking 1,000cc. That's a rumor that's been floating around. So somewhere around that line, we're thinking what it's going to be. So currently, the ZX14R is capable of going from 0 to 60 in about 2.5 seconds. Mind-blowing, and that is Bugatti Veyron territory. That bike, however, weighs about 480 pounds. That's pretty heavy. That's a lot of weight to be throwing around. Now, if you want to learn more about the fastest production bikes to date and what kind of speeds that they're reaching right now, because one of the first motorcycles to bear that title was the Scott 2-Speed with the mind-blowing top speed of near 50 miles per hour. If this is going to be groundbreaking, this bike is going to have to exceed what's been done already. So we're talking about going faster than any Kawasaki bike has ever gone. And that's one of the first things I think. This bike is probably going to be the fastest Kawasaki motorcycle ever built. So with that in mind, you've got to look at what the bikes are currently capable of and think about faster speeds. Now, another factor to consider is the ZX14R is limited at 186. What would be the point of building a bike that's capable of going faster, evidenced by the wings on this bike, which I don't think are cosmetic. I think those are there for a functional reason. What would be the point of doing that if you're going to limit the speed on this bike? So I think this bike is going to break the gentleman's agreement. But there's going to be two versions. There's going to be, potentially, that's a rumor, there's going to be a race bike and there's going to be a street version. So potentially, the race bike is the one that's going to really break the speed record, and that's the one with the winglets and stuff like that. If you look at the video with the flyby, you don't see the winglets on that bike now, do you? So I think the race version is the one with all the winglets, and that's the one that they're really showcasing. That is the flagship bike. That's the one that they're really going to be showing off. It's the one that's going to be in Germany tomorrow. Tune in at 1:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my live stream event unveiling the bike, which I think is going to be the race version. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. So I think that there's going to be a standard version which may not have the wings, which is going to be limited by the gentleman's agreement. However, for those of you race guys, it'll have a very high potential. So if you unrestrict it, I'm not going to say anything else. I think you guys know what that means and where I'm headed. But anyway, moving on. So speed, I'm going to say 220 miles per hour, maybe 230 or higher. But definitely I'm thinking 220. I'm hedging my bet at 220 miles per hour as a top speed for the new Kawasaki Ninja H2. And I'm basing that based on what the bikes are currently capable of and the necessity of all this extreme aerodynamics, having these wings, which will potentially address problems of downforce at extreme speeds. Because remember, this is a bike that instead of a big 1400cc engine, is probably going to have a smaller engine. That means a lighter weight bike with carbon fiber, lightweight, high speeds, not very stable. Add some winglets on there and some really advanced technology, like they did with the Bugatti Veyron, might just work. Speaking of which, the Bugatti Veyron is one of the most loved and hated vehicles. I'm going to be doing a video talking about the car. I think it is definitely underappreciated. People look at it, oh, it's just $2 million, whatever. To do 240 plus miles per hour while drinking coffee, that is what you get with the Bugatti Veyron. That is an immense accomplishment by Bugatti. And I think that's why they were able to gross $800 million in Bugatti Veyron sales since they started making them. Let's talk about availability. So, what is availability? I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed tomorrow. I'm pretty sure about that. We did an interview with Ricky Gatson. Take a look at the interview right here. One of the comments that was made is extremely limited supply. This is not going to be a bike that's going to be sold in high numbers. A lot of people are thinking, oh, I'm just going to go buy an H2 and I'm going to have the king of the street. Yeah. No. I think if you're thinking about the Kawasaki Ninja H2, you need to think like you're thinking about the Ducati Superleggera. They only made 500 of those. I think it's going to be similar. So very low amount of bikes. So the odds of you getting one, very low. Beyond that, the price is going to be, I think, extreme. We're talking about not quite Ducati Superleggera, because one thing we love about Japanese is they are able to build high-performance vehicles reliably and economically. Look at the Nissan GT-R. This is a car around $100,000 that is beating $200,000 and $300,000 cars. So think like that. This is a bike that's going to be able to eat The Ducati Superleggera just basically eat that bike up and spit it out, and yet probably costs $10,000 less. I'm thinking that this bike is going to range anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000, maybe more like $40,000. So most people won't be able to afford the bike, and there's going to be a lot of questions about, why would they build a bike that costs so much? No one can afford it. This sucks. Well, if you want to build a bike that's going to be king of the hill, you're going to have to build a very extreme bike, and it's not going to be cheap. I mean, the Ducati Superleggera is a $60,000 bike. How are you going to compete with that with something that's going to cost $22,000, $23,000? You're going to have to pay a considerable amount of money for a bike that's going to be king of the hill. You want to be king of the hill, you're going to have to pay for it. Not even the Japanese can get you out of that equation. They can certainly save you a lot of money over a Ducati and build you something that's going to be faster, more reliable, and maybe even cooler looking at a lower price point, but it's still going to be expensive. That's just the reality of things. So the final question is why? Why would they build such a bike that costs so much money, limited supply, that you're not going to be able to buy? Well, you got to look at it this way. There's a lot of reasons why they would do that. And it's just like the Bugatti Veyron. People look at it as, $2 million car, it's ridiculous, blah, blah. Who can afford that? But meanwhile, they grossed $800 million or more. Here's the deal. Right now, there's going to be a show in Germany tomorrow where this bike is going to be unveiled. And I think right now, I'm referring to this show not as an Intermot show, but as the Kawasaki Ninja H2 show. That's the only thing I care about at that show. They're going to be bringing the bike to Orlando. And again, I think that show is going to be all about the Ninja H2. I think that any motorcyclist that goes to any motorcycle show where the Kawasaki Ninja H2 is at, they're going to be going to the booth. How many more sales of Kawasaki bikes are going to be made based on this bike alone? How many young kids right now are going to fall in love with this extreme bike and be bragging about it and talking about it? And when they grow up and they're looking to buy a bike, they're going to buy a Kawasaki bike. You got to think about stuff like that. It's just like when I was a kid and they had these Hess trucks. Hess the gas station, right? Hess trucks, Hess trucks, Hess truck. So you play with the Hess truck, and then when you grow up and you're an adult and you want to go buy your gas, you go to the Hess gas station. Me personally, a lot of the toys had Goodyear tires on there. So what did I do? When I bought my first car as an adult, I went and I bought Goodyear. Why? Because the brand was familiar to me. Now, this is going to be more than just familiar. This is going to be something bragging rights, legendary, most likely. So I'm looking at a future market in the future for Kawasaki as booming based on the hype of this bike alone. So you got to look at it that way. They're going to sell bikes today and into the future based on this bike alone, based on the hype and how much attention this is going to get. So, dollar signs. Why did they do it? Because of the potential profits of this bike and also the research and development. The research and development that is required to build an extreme bike like this is most likely going to be, you look at the winglets, I'm thinking extreme speeds and all that kind of stuff, all the problems that had to be solved. That has to be something that can be applicable to the racetrack. There has to be something that you can trickle down to other motorcycles. So the future ZX10 models, the future ZX15R, ZX14R, well, we don't know what's going to happen next with the ZX14R. The future of what that's going to be, I'm looking at trickling down of technology from the Ninja H2 into those bikes. So while you may not be able to buy the Ninja H2 today, probably going to be able to buy it tomorrow. Not literally, but the technology of the H2 is probably going to trickle down into the lower models, so you will be able to afford to buy your own little mini H2. So all in all, I think that Kawasaki is on the right track. I know marketing-wise, they certainly are. There's a lot of hype, and everyone's talking about this thing. They're getting a lot of attention based on this alone, based on a bike that has not even been released yet. If it's half of what we're thinking, then I think it's going to continue to grow in terms of a successful venture for Kawasaki. I will tell you for one thing, I am very, very excited to see this bike. I'm very, very excited to unveil the bike tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm looking forward to seeing the bike in person. I tip my hat to Kawasaki. Team Green, the team that started it all for me. I started my interest with motorcycles because of a Kawasaki Ninja. So, on a final note, I would like to say congratulations to Kawasaki on 30 years of making the legendary Kawasaki Ninja. I would not be surprised in the least if we soon find out that the new, fastest production motorcycle is the new Ninja H2. Please take a look at my Ninja H2 playlist for more about the Ninja H2. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, there's over 900 more videos for you to check out right here and on my main channel, Carlyle's Picks. Also, check out the electric motorcycles, and don't forget I have plenty of car videos too. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button, and welcome aboard. You are watching Your Fast Life. This is your source for cars and motorcycle action, reviews, and information.